on somebody who isn't sure of who they are, or at the very least has a very deep fear of what others think of them.
What's the use of dismantling language? Maybe, Will, you might know. As you know, they make words don't mean anything anymore. Maybe let's go to the Constitution.
Well, I mean, it's so it allows you to kind of do whatever you normally want to in terms of law, right? So that's the first the power of if you can basically win that all language is totally indeterminate, and that then really law just becomes an exercise of power.
Yeah.
There's no principle basis on which to say like you can or can't do anything, and I mean the left prefers that because it it believes in what's so-called like living constitutions, and I think this is what you were getting at with a lot of your kind of the critique of interpretation, but the left really doesn't want to be constrained by past understandings and past written texts. They just want they want to go towards
Is that like when they talk about well-regulated militia in regards to the Second Amendment, when they understand that's not what they meant?
To a degree, yes. I mean, it is like most of the, if you look at the context of a well-regulated in the time frame, like it's pretty clear that they meant a working properly militia. They weren't talking about the government regulating things, because now the government regulations, like the way that we think of the administrative state, when you think of regulation, you think of the bureaucracy deciding laws, making rules. That's not what well-regulated means.
The key thing there is it's about how does that clause operate grammatically.
Okay. So
the clause is a well-regulated militia being necessary to a free people, something like that. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is a good example of where English is actually not indeterminate. That phrase is a preparatory phrase that is basically saying the way that sentence reads properly is the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There's a really good reason why. But it's not saying this is this is the only reason why, and this is therefore the only purpose for which bearing arms is acceptable. No, that's not the right way to read that English. And so
would it have been easier if they just didn't give any reason and just said the...
Right, yeah, well, they didn't assume that, I mean, it's pretty clear, actually. I mean, my understanding of, the history of the Second Amendment, they understand exactly what they were doing. I mean, there's a lot of, like, really cruddy Second Amendment arguments that the left puts out there. Things like, well, they only had muskets back then, so, like, you can only have muskets now. It's like, muskets weren't state-of-the-art, right? They were basically saying that the citizenry should have state-of-the-art weaponry. And... I mean, there are obviously some limits on that, but there's a whole slew of terrible left-wing arguments, but the worst of them is sort of seizing on this prefatory clause and then just butchering not only English grammar when the thing was written, but English grammar now. Like,
you ever seen the meme where it's like women if they go back, if they had a time machine, and men if they had a time machine, and the men, it's like, write it as if they're two. Write the Second Amendment as if they were 5 years old.
We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna jump to one last story, and it's a light one to end the week.
Yeah.
Israel Hamas swapped to go ahead despite claiming child hostages were killed with bare hands.
Yeah.
So the ceasefire deal still on track amid uproar over fate of 2 Israeli boys and false return of their mother's bodies. So this is a situation that I find, particularly disgusting, and it's something that people seem to ignore when they're talking about the Israel-Palestine argument, if they're sympathetic to the Palestinian side. So from The Guardian, Israelis and Palestinians are bracing for another tense exchange of hostages, prisoners, and detainees on Saturday after uproar in Israel over allegations that 2 child hostages were brutally murdered by Hamas, and the group's failure to deliver the body of their mother, instead turning the corpse of an unidentified woman.
That's crazy.
The Israeli Defense Force said in a statement on Friday afternoon that autopsy results and military intelligence concluded that members of Hamas used their bare hands to kill Ariel Bias 4 and his 10-month-old brother Kiffer when they were seized in October 2023. If I understand correctly, there's actually no evidence that these kids and their mother were actually seized by Hamas. They were
There's
don't.
some idea that they were seized by Gazan civilians.
Yeah,
right?
they
Austin.
That's what I've been hearing.
Because they don't wear uniforms, which I mean, whether you think that the
Except when they're handing them over in these
Yeah.
ceremonies, then they somehow find their uniforms.
crazy, right?
I wonder where they went.
You know,
Maybe it'd make it easier to identify who's a military and who's a civilian if they would wear them during conflict.
Well, the Geneva suggestions are just that. But they don't wear. They weren't wearing on October 7th. They weren't wearing. Military garb. They weren't wearing uniforms. And there's a lot of people that would make the argument that there were a lot of Palestinians that just went into Israel and were
wish America
kidnapping
would
people.
get out
and
of all that
I
shit.
find it difficult to disprove that theory.
I think Trump's
Again,
right, Dad. Just
they
move
weren't
everyone
wearing-
out of there and bulldoze it.
They weren't wearing uniforms, so you can't really prove that there is a
Turn it into a
distinction.
strip
And that's
mall or
something that
something.
I find
I don't know what the hell.
I
what
find
the hell
difficult
is supposed
to parse out generally. There are
Can't have
people that say,
motherfuckers
well,
living right next to you
no one
shooting
in,
rockets
not
in
everyone
your city.
in
You know?
Gaza
Nobody's
is
like
Hamas,
that.
sure, but I think they have like 70% approval rating or something like that in a poll or something. So
Where's the Gazan Oscar Schindler? Right? Where is the
yeah,
like
that's another.
where is the Gazan? There have been hundreds of. It's been a year and a half. It's not like also Hamas is not as powerful as the Nazi regime was in Germany, right? Like Hamas got their ass kicked very quickly.
I want to just for a point. I want to articulate that in Germany there were Germans that saved Jews. In Gaza there were no Gazans that saved Jews.
Yeah.
So in Nazi Germany there were Germans that were protecting Jews and hiding Jews in in Nazi Germany. There are no Gazans that were protecting Jews. In fact, there were Gazans that were considered Gazan civilians that
I don't
went
understand why
into
everyone
Israel
hates
and
Jews
kidnapped
so
you.
much.
This is my ignorance for the situation.
Seem okay to me.
In Germany, Jewish folks lived inside the city of where Germany was, with the Germans.
They were German too.
Well, sure, Jews. Right, but I'm just saying, yeah. But also, I don't know of any, I've not heard of Israelis living in Gaza. I feel like it's
Zero.
Right.
You know why that is?
So there's no...
Israelis literally ripped. The Israeli government ripped Israeli citizens
I always
from
like
their
working for
homes and their
Jewish people
settlements
because they always
in the
tip
Gaza
good.
Strip in 2005.
You know?
They
No,
made the
I
Gaza
always say
Strip
how
free
tight
of
Jewish
Jews.
people
Well, that's why
are,
there's
but it ain't true. I was
Gaza
like a real
Schindler's
humble
List because
construction
there's no
worker.
living
I
at
used
the
to
time.
Yeah, they're-
build
I
stuff
get
in
it.
people's homes.
Yeah, it's just like a
And I worked for a lot of
Yeah.
and
Jewish people.
I think you're actually that's a good
And,
point, right? The
I like
people
them.
of
They were
Gaza
always really
don't have
nice
any
to me.
day-to-day interactions with Israelis unless they were among the few who were getting work permits to go work on
Yeah.
the strip.
A lot of the other people
so
treat you
you just
shitty
have
because they,
no
they see a white guy
Relationship
that's
and no sort of
real
empathy
dark.
because
Yeah, and
that
they
there's
look
not
down
enough
on
cross-cultural
people that
interaction,
work out
and
in
I
the
think
sun
that's
and stuff,
that
like
probably
some
is
of
a
the
good
other
explanation for whereas not everybody in
different
Germany
people.
agrees with Hitler, and certainly there were plenty of German Jews.
I've
There were
worked
plenty of
more.
Jews just living in Germany prior to Hitler that Germans
And they don't.
living
A lot of them don't
So
treat
that's
you
the
as
point
good.
that folks are saying. I know nothing to feel is mute. You can't just say that.
No, every
And
Jewish person I
there's
work
also in the
Great
background of this,
customer.
or during this, there was I think there were 3 buses that exploded in Israel. 6 buses.
Yeah, 6. They designed to kill. Everybody's very lucky that they went. Somehow nobody died.
Oh, good.
Despite and
I know. I
very
can
good
say I
easily did mass
worked for
casualty events.
like some
Um,
Arabs and
yeah, and
Indians.
This is also
and like them people.
I was just in Israel, just like full disclosure. I was in there.
And they kind of, they kind of treated us kind of shittily,
issues myself,
because it's like
the big discussions
I don't know
have been
what
all
it-
about these hostage release
what it
deals,
was. So, a
and
bunch
where,
of white guys
Israel's
work on
giving
the
up
house.
30 or something.
They're all browns. They work
prisoners for every
outside,
one
and
hostage
that.
that
It's
they
like,
back.
you
And
know,
a lot
they
of
were
these
kind of
prisoners are
snooty
convicted
enough
criminals,
towards
people who
us.
were used to be involved
But
in
you know,
those
that's not
bombings
all people.
back in like the
it's
second
just
Intifada in like 2000.
you're talking about
and even more
a
recently.
small portion of
And all of a
people that are
sudden,
very wealthy.
after Israel has
they're
now
upper
released
class
something like
people to
1,000 of
begin
these
with.
convicted criminals, all of a sudden
You know,
buses are blowing up again.
compared to
like,
me as just
not,
being like
I'm a fan of Israel, but I gotta
they
say,
probably do think they're better.
I really don't like the
You don't wanna
hostage deals
talk.
they've been doing. I think they've been really
You know?
a little bit too cavalier about the future consequences of
in
releasing
a lot
these
of them
criminals.
old
Like, that their own
neighborhoods.
citizens, a lot of their own citizens are going to
In
die or be taken captive in the future
Cleveland,
by some of the people that they're releasing.
almost
Are they releasing them into the
entirely
city?
Jewish
or are they sending them?
neighborhoods.
Some of them
Some
are
of
getting
them
released
are,
into the West Bank,
the
some of them are
guys
getting
with
released into Gaza.
Okay.
what do you call it?
Do you have a
Funny
sense
hair.
that, I mean,
I don't really
obviously
know much
Gaza's
about
been
them. I don't know what they're
basically
called.
leveled. I don't know exactly how many cities there
Some of them
were in
guys
Gaza.
are
There were 2
shooting
major
there.
cities in Gaza, right?
And they were cool.
Right, I mean,
Yeah,
Gaza
they
City is the
are.
dominant population center, but then there's
You know,
Khan Yunis
so like
and
it-
Rafah.
Hey guys, you want to go smoke a
And
joint?
I
You
Rafah
know?
got
We'll go
got
listen to some
really
Led Zeppelin.
destroyed.
No, that shit
yeah,
ain't
yeah,
gonna go
yeah.
on. But hey,
Yeah,
we got to
people
do it.
forget.
You
I
know,
mean,
hey,
Israel's really small, and the
they're
Gaza Strip's
cool
even
to you
smaller.
and
It's
stuff.
like New Jersey,
Talk,
right?
have
Israel might be the
conversation.
size of New Jersey. The Gaza Strip is the size of the Las
They were
Vegas.
dicks.
Vegas.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
But not. And Las Vegas is a big town,
Yeah.
right? Like there's downtown, there's the strip, right?
Yeah.
But like still not that big. So I mean, we're talking
so I've run
50
across some.
by 8.
Well, I
See,
tell you what, I
one
worked
for
for this
something.
Is
dude
it your
from
sense that the
Lebanon, and
Donald
he
Trump
was,
has
he was
been
cool.
talking about some very
He was a cool dude.
novel ideas of how
I
to
worked for a couple
solve the
different people
issues
from Lebanon.
going on in Gaza?
And
Is
they
it
were
your
pretty
sense
cool.
that that kind of
I don't think they're
approach
Muslims.
is
I think
something that
those guys
the
were like Christians.
first of all that
so.
would produce
A lot of
positive
Lebanese
results?
are
Second of all, is it
Christians.
something
so a
that,
lot of them
that
are Jewish
the
too.
world is ready
They
for?
moved out away
I
from
mean, I
here
think
because
the world, whether the world's ready for it or not, it's
I
happening.
think the Arabs
And
took
I think
over there and were killing
what it has
everyone.
done, I mean,
or the
Trump
I
basically
don't know
saying,
Arab or whatever the
you
hell
know,
they are.
he was basically being
Muslim
boxed in by people. They're like, well, you know,
Islamic extremists.
Israel won't take us over, and nobody will stand for it.
And they moved
and
here
so, your only
because
option
of that.
here is basically like take the Palestinian
And they
Authority
were
that's
pretty
in
cool.
charge of the West Bank. You can put them in charge of Gaza. That's it. That's really your only option here. Trump's like, well, don't they suck too? And everybody's like, oh yeah, they really suck. Trust me, the Palestinian Authority is not cool. They might be like less radical than Hamas, but they still give like annuities to people who've blown up.
Pretty much,
Israeli
I think
civilians.
anyone
Like,
that's a
it's like,
Democrat
blow up an
now
Israeli civilian
is
terrorist
still
you get rewarded by
a
the
Democrat
government of
is.
Palestine.
They're probably kind of
So,
evil.
these people,
the
and they're notoriously
banality
corrupt
of
too.
evil because they're really not
as
well
often,
informed on stuff.
Arab governments
I don't
are
know how
because, you
anyone
can
can
Are they-
support them.
Are they as
I mean,
as
I've
do they do the
I've
bidding
largely
of-
voted
of
Democrat all
Iran
my
the
life.
same way
up
that
until this
no, they have the,
Hezbollah and
time.
I wouldn't say
You
so.
know?
I wouldn't even say Hamas really does the
Right,
bidding
I'm
of
like,
Iran. They've always operated
no
more independently.
more.
Hezbollah does a lot more.
You
Is a
know?
lot more directly tied to Iran. Hamas is more just supported by them.
I almost wish I
Hamas
never would have
surprised
supported them in the
10-7,
past
something
too,
like-
because
that's something
I
else.
really, when I
But,
did support them, I was ignorant. I
Basically, but getting
didn't,
back
you
to
know,
Trump,
I paid
Trump was like, well,
attention
that's
to
stupid.
lies
Like,
and
and
bullshit
moreover,
on
it's not, none of this
television.
is sufficiently
and I didn't
deterring
know the
us in the
whole
future.
story
So
of
here's the new
stuff.
plan. We're
You
just
know,
going to
like
take it over.
years
It'll be
later
ours
on, you
now.
read and
And all
study
the
up on
Palestinians get to
stuff.
leave. Right?
And
it's like,
oh, this is
it's
the-
sort of, it's
this is
it's
what
like a
really,
new angle.
really
It's
happened, and
basically
they were
saying what
lying to
really
us
is
back
saying is to
then.
all these Arab countries, it's
You know,
like,
so
your
I'm
solution
done
sucks.
with the Democrats.
And
I don't like
I'm not
Republicans
accepting
either,
them. And
but I
unless
like
you come
MAGA.
up with a solution that effectively
I think
resolves the
that's a
Israeli
pretty good
security
move.
concerns, and it's not some like, oh, we're going
You know,
to put a PA in charge.
not-
like,
It's not like the fucking
If you
Jesus
can't come up with something, then we will solve the problem
bangle
for you. And we will just we will
Bible
take everybody out
bangers
and we will take
that
over
I can't stand
and,
that
you know,
crap,
put you
man.
to hotels in a
I'm
military base.
a Buddhist. I
Gaza.
practice
And send them
Zen.
to Egypt and send them to the Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I mean, I don't
I've
got
talked
really
with some
nothing
people. One of
against
them had a really
Christian
funny idea. He was
folks.
like, I
There's a lot
really
of
believe in the
cool
right of
Christian
return
folk.
for Gazans.
My neighbor
You know,
is
their
a
name,
Christian
half the people in
minister.
Gaza are named,
He's cool as
have a last
fuck.
name of Al
You
Masri,
know?
the Egyptian. Others have Al Hijazi, the Saudi.
But I just, I don't want to see them
the idea
run the
being
government.
They can all, they
You
should
know,
all
'cause
go home
they're
to
gonna
their
be
places of origin.
biased, and
That
they're
would
gonna,
be just fine.
you know, it's so cool. I
so
like
the
when people
Egyptians
have
have
faith.
they're not
You know, 'cause
interested in
then,
taking
you know, they
the
have
Palestinians. The Jordanians are not interested in
a
taking
sense of the
Palestinians
divine,
because I know that there was
something
some kind
that's
of uprising
bigger
affected
than
in Jordan, right?
Well, I mean, historically, the Palestinians have
base
been a
their-
major source
whatever
of
their
instability
moral
in both
values
countries,
are.
particularly in Jordan.
and why they should
tried
try
to
to,
assassinate
and why you
the
should try
PLO
to
when they were there.
do the
We're talking
best
about
you
the
can.
80s, 70s, 80s. They were like trying to
everything
assassinate
you do,
the king
I
of
guess.
Jordan.
I don't know. I'm not
I think
very-
that's right. But they tried to rebel against the Jordanian
I
government.
believe
Isn't
religious
the,
crap,
the,
and I don't really
the
wanna
Queen
talk
of Jordan,
about
isn't she
that.
Palestinian?
I think she is. But she's certainly sympathetic to them. But I get it.
watch
I'm
these
actually a little
shows
more
and it makes
sympathetic
me
to the
think
Egyptians
about
than the
different
Jordanians,
stuff.
and maybe not the Egyptians because they did.
I really
allow
like
all
Tim
those weapons to
Cass.
go into Gaza, and they're like, ooh, me,
I
you
got
know.
some smart people on there.
but,
A lot of really smart young
You know,
people.
these are,
And
you know,
older
this is a
people,
radicalized
too.
population. You know, as I think we articulated at the beginning of the segment, there's a lot less distinction between Hamas and the Gazan population at large than people try to articulate. This isn't like, you know, ISIS just randomly coming in and not having a serious amount of domestic support. Like, the people of Gaza support Hamas by and large. So, you know, there is, I send that to the Egyptians and the Jordanians not wanting an additional, like, Sunni Islamist, you know, population in their country to, like, destabilize their own countries. I get that.
And it's
but
crazy.
guess
He
what?
let all
Some-
them
you're gonna have
migrants
to take
come
some
over
people,
here
I think,
like
probably.
that. Stoked.
And
Here you go, come on
assuming
in.
you go there,
After
or again,
all
you're gonna
the
have to figure out a way
shit
to
that's
solve
going
the
on
overall
all
problem
over
in
the
Gaza
world.
in a way that satisfies the
You
Israeli
know?
security concerns, which are
I know. I mean, it's
That's not
fucked up. That
I mean, the argument,
the destabilization.
I find
of
the
places
argument
in the war
compelling
era
that if
was
the,
bullshit.
I think it was,
I thought it was
might have been
bullshit
Hugh Hewitt that said
from
this,
the
but he said,
beginning.
if the if the Gazis
You know?
put down their weapons, or Hamas puts down their
I
weapons,
didn't think we should have been
then there would
doing
be
that. I
peace.
think we should
And
have
if
went
the
into
Israelis
Iraq. I don't
put
think.
down their
I'm
weapons,
not even sure
there's
we
gonna be a
should
lot
have
of
invaded
Yeah, and there's the-
Afghanistan.
and
I mean, maybe
the thing that
went
really
in
is
there,
interesting is the way
took
the
over a
West kind of
place,
projects its
a
own
base
way
of
of viewing the
operation or
world onto
something,
and saying that the
and
people in
then
Gaza and the West Bank think the same way. Or
I
should
just turned
think the
special
same way.
forces
They
guys
just
into
want a
bounty
state.
hunters.
No, they don't. They
You
want
know,
Israel
go after
gone.
the
Yeah,
fucking
that's
guys
their
that are
goal.
doing
They
this
want
shit.
Israel gone. They
Kill
think
every
it's a stain on
fucking
their
damn
honor.
one
That's
of them.
exactly
Bring them
what
to justice.
From the River
One
to
of
the
the
Sea
two.
means. And
Yeah.
Rather
keep
than try to
saying it.
invade
How
and
clear
take
could they
over the
be?
country
Like,
and spend
you're
all
like,
our money.
you know, it's like
Maybe that's what they tell you.
we want to get rid of Israel.
I
We want
mean,
the Jews
we
gone.
could literally
Oh, they just
do
mean
that.
they want their own national
Pull
aspiration.
into
Remember-
a
do you remember
place.
the big-
This is our
remember
base.
the
This is
big-
where we're operating from.
When
and go get
ISIS
bad
was
guys
actually a real
They're
power,
doing fucked
they
up
had their
shit. They're not trying to any of the
magazine
nation
opening.
building
Yeah.
shit.
And they
You
had
know,
an
we're
article
there for
called
one
Why
reason,
We
that's
Hate
to
You and
wipe
Why
out
We
Islamic
And it
terrorists.
literally went through
You
all
know,
the
rather
reasons
than
why
mealy mouth and
the Sunni or the Shia, no, the Sunni Islamists
fucked up
hated
about
people
you
that
know
were
trying
not
to turn it into
Muslims,
political
right? And it was
correct dumb
very
shit.
clear.
I mean,
It
when
was
you
all this,
when you
it was
fight a
you're-
war, that's
because
what it's
you're
about. It's about destroying your
unbelievers,
enemy.
because
period.
God says we gotta
know,
kill you.
You can
Like,
be nice
straight down the list.
afterwards, but you want to
And
make
Barack
sure you
Obama
fucking
was
win
still making the
first.
argument, and this
you
is
know?
to your point about like the West
America,
projects their
I
ideas
mean,
on. Barack Obama would make
I
the
don't
argument,
know, we
well, no,
just-
it's
I
economics.
don't know
they're
what the
they're doing
hell.
this because they don't have iPhones and they don't have
You
modern
know, there's
things.
too
It's
many
like,
fucking
no,
assholes that make
they
money off
literally
fucking war,
put
is
out
what
a
it is,
magazine
I
with
think.
better copy editing than
That
your
needs to
average
come
New
to an
York
end.
Times, and
And
they
most
were
of them
straight
are
up saying,
fucking
hey,
our
this
political
is why
leadership.
it's
So, I
called
mean, look
This
at
is
how
Why
much
We
money
Hate You, and this is why
Pelosi
we
and
fight you.
Schumer, how much they're worth.
seriousness and the respect
Hey,
for them to take
you
them at their
know,
word.
They all
Just-
made
just
that
take
from
them at their word that
insider
this is what they
trading,
want,
and
and
I'll
stop
bet.
saying that like what they want
What
is
are they
just
trading? What are they
a
investing
side by
in?
side state. They
War
don't.
shit.
That's not what they want. And that's
Oh, we
like
know this
uniform,
war is
both
gonna
in
happen,
West
and we're
Bank
gonna
and
vote
in
for it.
Gaza, and say,
Why am we going to
yeah,
vote
I mean,
for this
there are
new
solutions here. I'm
airplane?
actually, you know,
And we're going to invest in that company.
listened
You
to some people
know,
have some pretty interesting ideas about what to do about the West Bank too,
I
which
don't-
was, you know,
I mean, there's probably a
the
lot
idea
more
being
to
that
it than that.
the Middle East
There's
is
a lot of shit I
has
don't
three different
understand.
forces
but
kind of pulling it in different directions: Islam, tribalism, and
It
modernity.
just seems that
And tribalism is an important.
why are
thing.
fucking
It actually kind of explains
representatives
the
to our
origin of Islam,
government?
because
Why are
you know,
representatives and
tribalism emerges
senators
because there's not a lot of
allowed
water in the Middle East.
to
So individualism
trade
doesn't work. You need to
on
have a tribe.
businesses
You need to have
that
a
they're
plan. You need to have a
voting
plan.
on whether this
And
business
so
is going to
there's
get
a
a
lot-
government
you know,
contract?
There's on the one hand a lot of internal support, but also that's where
you know,
inbreeding.
why are
and
they
that's
allowed to
where it
do
comes
that?
from.
I mean,
It's
that's
actually not
to me
a
that
phenomenon of
seems
Islam.
that's a
It's
pretty
phenomenon
simple
of the
conflict
tribal.
of interest there.
Islam is actually supposed to be.
Maybe I don't
corrected
understand what
because it was
conflict of
Muhammad
interest is.
who
I
was
don't
saying
know.
things like,
I think most
you
of all
should
that
marry from
fucking
afar.
shit's just shit to
You should marry outside
manipulate
the clan.
people. All
And-
you know,
Which are high-
law
and
shit.
also like we
just
should all be coming
manipulative
together underneath
gaslighting
the banner of
bullshit.
Allah rather than constantly fighting with
I'm
each
not
other
a
over
big
water
fan of the
sources.
rule of law
And that actually, you know,
because
talking
I
about
mean, I
really
am and I'm
wildly
not.
oversimplifying
Sure.
history of the Arab world,
because
but basically like because Islam managed to like
I guess you
unify
gotta have
tribes,
something.
get them to stop fighting each other, deal with inbreeding, and
You know,
tamp down blood
more
feuds, was able to unite a lot of people and then swallow.
shit gets
all
more law, complex law.
But anyway, but it hasn't like the tribalism hasn't
I
gone
don't
away. It's
know.
still a thing, and so
It's
you know, when you're trying to explain the Middle East,
simplifying it.
why are certain countries peaceful and why are they not? You might say, oh well, some of them have oil and some of them are wealthy. It's like no, Iraq has tons of oil. So does Syria. So does Iran. They're just much basket cases. Dubai doesn't have any oil.
I don't know. Probably
Because
the less government we
super
have,
wealthy and
better
powerful
off.
despite not
Other
having
than
what it is.
having good
stable
things. I mean, I
tribalism.
don't. I want to see
Families
Social
that are-
Security.
Saudi Arabia is
shit like
Saudi
that.
Arabia, owned by the Saud family. The
Elderly
Emirates are
and
united.
sick, and
Arab
then
Emirates owned by individual
people that
families
paid,
and
you know,
tribes that
paid
work-
into
work
the damn
together in
system
concert.
all their
Kuwait,
life.
owned by a family.
I'm
Bahrain,
not against
Qatar,
any of them
everywhere that's
things.
stable in the Middle East.
It
has
seems like
a
the Democrats
stable,
ruined all that
tribal-
stuff. We had a good thing, with that.
Thus, this guy's solution, he said,
And they
Palestinian
fucking
Emirates.
ruined
Should
it.
be an Emirate of Ramallah, one of the cities, an Emirate
And
of
they start
Hebron,
giving it
an
to
Emirate of
fucking
Bethlehem, an
criminal
Emirate of
aliens
Jeddah.
that came here,
Like, you have small little
you
areas
know, that crossed our
that are
border
run by, like,
illegal.
with-
They
by a
reward
essentially
criminals
put the family in charge.
with,
and
you
and then they own it and they can run it and
social
keep it
programs and shit, which they're
And
supposed to go
to
to
avoid all the
our
sectarian.
injured and
Because the
sick
thing is,
people.
one thing people don't realize
make
is
sure
they're
that
worried about the
babies
Palestinian state,
get what
like
they need.
all the area of the
the
West
parents
Bank with
become
all these different
something
cities in
happens
it.
to the parents.
The only thing that would unify it is hostility to Israel, and so it's a recipe
all
for
those
endless
things are
war.
good, man.
Because the
That shows
moment
that,
that they,
that shows we have a good society.
other than that, they all be
And
fighting amongst each
to have
other
those things
with their
but
own regional and sectarian biases against each other, and so
we're not
you're
going to
just
have
like, the only way to
fucking Democrats
glue the
continue
state of Palestine together is,
on the path that they're doing, giving
you know,
all that
trying
money
to
to fucking
combat it.
Ukraine,
you know, this is also
doing
why,
this
like,
and that,
why did Assad,
bringing
why is Assad
illegals
so
in like
historically
that, and they all
anti-Israel?
have needs and don't
in
have any
Syria?
money to
Well,
pay for
He
anything.
leads this hodgepodge of the
Somebody's
Alawites
gotta
and the
fucking
Druze and
work
the
and-
Sunnis and the Shias. The
Part
only
of
way
the
to get
system.
everybody to stick together is be like,
I mean,
those Jews
I
they
used
suck.
to. I can't anymore, not
and
like
so
I used to. Not in any,
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
so that's like a sort
any
of
way
long,
that
that's
anybody
a,
would
the
hire
short form
me.
explanation of
You
why
know,
like the
I
two-state
piss
solution is
around
one
and
many
work a little
reasons why
bit to
two-state
keep
solution
myself
is
from
bad.
dying.
Doesn't account for tribalism.
You know,
Doesn't
'cause
account
you
for
can't
the
just sit
clan
around and
structure
do
of families
nothing.
in the region, and
But I can't work
better
like I
idea,
used to.
many smaller stateless little emirates.
Not and expect to
City
fucking
states
live
act
Yeah.
very long.
Thank you. I had no idea about any of that. So now it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I didn't either until 2 weeks ago, and then I went with you guys explained to me, and it made a lot of sense. So.
All right, well, I think
Yeah, I
we're
sure
going to
hope
go
Donald
ahead
Trump
and go on over to
his
Super Chats.
administration
We're going to
can-
end on a
Can
positive note
fix
right
some
there.
stuff.
Smash
I mean,
the
it's
like
fucked
button,
up.
share the show with your
Shit, young
friends,
people can't even
and
buy
head
a-
on over to
get a house.
supercats.com and join our
Shit, and
Discord.
they're putting up
We're not
fucking
doing an after
illegal
show tonight, but you can call
aliens
in and
shit,
speak to our
fucking
guests and
hotels
speak to
and
us.
crap.
If you remember the Discord,
and all that
you can
crap
find
all over the
like-minded
place,
people.
you
Maybe
know?
you'll get married. Maybe you'll
Young people can't
start a
get
podcast.
decent
Who knows?
jobs.
There's a lot of great things that happen
know?
over in the Discord. So go on
Oh.
over and join up.
Opportunities abound.
They are.
They've kind of ruined our culture,
Alpha
man.
Turkey says,
Americana used to be
Maine governor
the
got
culture
you.
of
So glad we have a president with
innovation,
big
hard
cojones.
work,
1 month in, and I barely
know,
feel like we can keep up. I
freedom.
agree. It was, and that was one of the things that, even though I didn't mention, that was one of the things that I was thinking about when we were talking about how the
You could
president will
buy a house, you could buy a house fairly cheap,
for
a little
people
bit
that
of
don't
land
know,
to start
Donald
out
Trump
on.
and the Maine governor
And it was
got
possible
into
to
a
pay for the
disagreement
shit
today
off at just a
about
fucking
federal
regular
funding.
job.
Actually, it was about
You know?
trans women, so boys on girls' sports teams. Donald Trump had said, "Hey, you're going to have to stop doing this," and the Maine governor said,
Yeah.
"Well, we'll see you in court." And he's like, "Oh,
I
see you in
blame
court.
I blame
We're not going
Democrats
to give
and
you any
Republicans
federal
both for
funding,
this
so you're
shit.
going to do it." And I know
Fucking
that
Reagan,
Maine
George
isn't
Bush
all
type
that blue.
Republicans.
It's actually
Yeah.
kind of purple. So
Clinton.
I think you lose. And honestly, if I understand
Obama
correctly,
Democrats and shit.
some of the analysts that I've been listening to
They're
were
like the
saying that
same
it
thing,
is
man.
an 80-20 topic
Fucking pieces
in
of
Maine.
shit,
80% of the
man.
people
I'm
don't
glad
like
that fucking
young
Harris.
boys that are dressed as girls on
I
girls'
swore- I
sports
thought she
teams. I
was
think
gonna
that's
win.
generally
Oh my
kind of
God,
the
I thought she
split
was
in the
gonna
U.S.
win.
Most
I'm so glad she did
most of the people are kind of like,
But
even if you
once
decide you
I
want
tell
to
you
go
what,
live your
once
life and
they
maybe I'll
shot
call
at
it
him, he shot his
still
fucking
can't play
ear
sports
off,
with the
almost
girls.
killed him.
So there's your backstory.
The
for that.
Democrats, the evil
Let's see here.
Democrats.
What else do we got? Whiskey Drinkers
Another
says, "Hey, Phil
mentally
and
ill
crew,
Democrat
I was hoping
trying
to
to
get a
kill
shout out
people.
for
Huh.
Heroes Never Alone, a 501c3 out of Legionnaire,
That seems to be the
PA,
norm
a
in
good
our
place to move without
society.
West Virginia 1099 BS. Thanks for all you guys do. We love you. Cheers. Thank you very much. And there's your shout out.
There you go.
There you go. Common Sense Fishing says, I just busted a gut laughing hearing Phil smirk when saying Ray Stanley will be in the members area like he's been nobody. Quickly followed up by a junior. That's kind of what he said. Or that's what the super chat says. I know it's kind of tough. Like YouTube is real finicky when it comes to the typing. So
So shout out Common Sense Fishing.
I think so. Yeah. Shut up.
Sometimes there's character limits depending on how much
Yeah,
super chat.
it's very tricky.
You gotta figure out a way to fit everything you want to say in there.
And it also it'll finish it for you, but it doesn't do it like other spell checks does. It's kind of difficult.
Like the hardest part for me when we're doing the show is reading the articles, because the second reading out loud doubly as hard when it's reading the super chat.
Super chat, yeah.
Because you can't kind of know what
Yeah.
they're saying as they say.
Right, you can't just robotically read.
Yeah.
You never know what somebody's gonna say to you.
You'll get
No, it happens.
That happens to Mary a lot of times. She'll just go, I'm not reading that.
No, she's good at not falling into the trap,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, somebody's gonna get you to say something awful.
Ruh-roh. Oh, so YouTube just crashed, so we're reloading here. Just give us a
Ruh-roh.
second. Let's see. Let's see here. Zach Yandel says,
What do they
Brett,
call that kick? All kinds
your
of different
lie in
names.
April on Hulu recent discovery.
My teacher just
Read
called
it
them
again?
stomping
Literally says,
kicks.
Brett, your lie in April on Hulu recent discovery.
Traditional
And
name.
it's your as in possessive, not you are.
Oh, so it's a show or a movie. Oh, Okay, I'll have to.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. I'll have to check it out. You should go check out Reacher season 3, which is very, very good. It's
Okay.
yep, much better at its start than season 2 was. Even if Alan Richardson is kind of a TDS suffering lunatic, that's okay.
I'd go watch The Agency. You guys haven't seen that one? The Showtime.
That's a little bit too cerebral. I mean, it's Michael Fassbender.
I don't like how this thing
I
flops
give him
like
credit,
that.
I don't care about the mental health.
I wish it was a little bit
response.
more
This one
solid,
seems to
so.
go up.
I thought about taking like
I
a
just want to see
pipe
him, you know, like, let's find
and
a
like
middle ground here. Like,
take
I
a
don't want to
couple
watch a
stiff
spy get
springs that
killed.
are real
Can-
hard to
can
bend.
go in a car chase.
That don't
after-
give very
Yeah,
easy.
Like,
And
we're
put it
gonna
out
car
there
chase,
like a
get
leg.
into therapy. He runs in the opposite.
And then
direction,
wrap
I'm
fucking
sick.
foam
It's a
around it so
gunfight on the
you know
way
you
to
can
the thing.
bang
Is that
into it a little
okay?
It
harder.
was like, tell me about your day.
But it's still hard and stiff and hard. It's hard to move
Tommy
out of the
K.
way.
Atomic
So that when you
says
go
the
in
FBI
here,
should halt all
you
flights
feel that
scheduled by people
that
on the
because
list.
that's what you want to happen. You want that person's
Talking about the
leg to
scene.
go like that,
Oh,
but not that
excellent.
easy.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
I mean,
Or on the
I'm
video.
a dummy.
I mean, that
Anyhow.
depends with the way
But I
flights
mean,
are going.
in reality,
I feel like they
so much
should be
leg
arrested.
collapses
Like,
like
can we
that
start
when
with-
you do that technique,
like,
man,
I
they're
don't
gonna
know,
fall
I'm
and
just
you
like
get
gonna throw
bam,
out
bam,
there
bam,
that maybe
bam,
the
fuck
people
you,
who sex traffic
motherfucker.
children should, you know, the consequences should be more substantial than awkwardness.
At least that's what I
Earth walks abound.
I'd
Oh,
try to
like
take
that,
them
you have
out
to fly one of those Endeavor Air
by
flights.
knocking them down.
Or-
Turn it on, man, put 'em to
Imagine
sleep.
if that was the way that like our government resolved this problem. They're like, okay, we found you guilty of flying to go have sex with children. The solution is this: is you're not allowed to fly anymore.
Turn them on, put them
That's
to
like
sleep, choke
nothing
them
but
out.
flights from women.
Yeah,
Pin
all
in the
just
net till you
unmanned
don't
flights.
move no more.
The
I
Endeavor
don't
Air,
do that.
Endeavor Air.
Right,
That's
you have
bad.
to go on that flight.
On the all-women
Unless it's a
Endeavor-
life or
Endeavor
death
Air.
situation.
They would actually have a
then it
hashtag
doesn't
unmanned
matter.
because
Just
they
do
would
whatever you
put
gotta do
all
to
women
survive.
through, which is cringe but typical of feminists. And
Then if
stuff.
you can't avoid hurting
Common
someone,
sense
it's
fishing
always
says
best
the way
to.
politicians
And
flip
I've
flop
had
like
people
fish, I don't
try
trust anyone
coming
who
up,
doesn't
grabbing,
say
shoving
America
it, and
first from the
pushing on me and
get-go.
trying to
Even
do
before
shit, and
Trump
I just
showed up,
simply
like
go
Ron
like this
Paul,
and
Ron and Rand Paul. they're
back
all
goes
swamp
like that,
creatures
and they're
in
like,
the
oh
waves.
fuck, you know, and
Like,
I'm
you have to
gone.
give some grace to,
You know,
to politics
I could hit
that
the
have
dude,
turned
break his
things
fucking
around
nose,
and
break
have
his
stood by
palm, break
convictions
his
since then.
jaw,
And from what I
knock his
understand,
fucking eye out of
J.D.
his
Vance had
head.
some stances
But instead,
early
I
on in
just
his
went
career
like
that
that.
didn't necessarily line
Nixon,
up.
like Trump in the
You know,
2016
I'm going,
primary.
I'm out of here.
The point is kind
I'm
of
bye.
more
Bye bye.
to if the
I
ideas
don't wanna
that
fight.
you're promulgating
I don't wanna
are
go to
good for the
prison. I
country
don't want-
and they're
I also
held
don't
by
wanna
a
be
lot of
shot or
people,
stabbed.
you want to get the politicians to go to work
Yeah.
for you and your views. I don't go to
Yeah.
politicians
That's how
or
I work,
actors
man. You can run
for
your mouth, you can
honesty.
say
I
them
go
and
to
flail
them
your
because, you
arms
know,
and
either you're making a piece of art that I
act
wanna
all like
consume,
an idiot.
or
I don't give
you're
a fuck.
potentially in charge of
As long as you don't
helping
put your
put
hands
forth
on me.
laws and ideas that I want to see come forward.
Or moving
In
in
that
to
case,
do
I don't know
something.
the person. I don't
That's
know whether
when
they
you fuck
honestly
them.
believe that,
Bam,
but it's
bam,
about
bam.
making sure that the views that the movement
Wing Chun's
are
cool,
pushing
man.
are the ones that are
I mean, there are a lot of
popular
cool
because they're the
martial
ones
arts.
that they're going to go with. I don't look to
I like
them
Muay
for
Thai a lot
integrity.
too.
If the option is a politician with integrity that I disagree with, or a politician that's going to lie about what he believes but still going to do the things that I like, I'm going to go with the guy that's going to lie and do the things that I
I don't
like.
think
And
there's any
that is
martial
more likely to be the
arts I really
case, even for the ones that are going to do things
don't
that you
like.
don't like. You're
Except
more
I don't
than
like
likely
those
going to get
straight
one void
fraud
of integrity
motherfuckers
going
like
against you,
that, you know.
or for you. Very rarely do
That-
you get a politician with integrity.
And then
Yeah, I don't
one thing that I
like
want
that
to say on
shit.
this, we
Yeah.
talk about it
If it's
fairly
good
regularly on here, like,
kung fu,
it's easy for us as
It doesn't, man.
pundits
You'll
or
see it
people
right
that are
away.
on
It's
the
like,
internet
oh,
talking
man, that
about
guy
politics
kicked
and stuff. It's
somebody's
easy
ass.
for us to get wrapped up
You
in
know,
this is
oh,
what
that
I
guy's
want,
got
got to
good
be this
shit,
way.
fucking
But
learn
you
from
gotta
him,
remember,
you know?
Congress, the
be
Republicans
able to
only
fight,
have a 2-seat
be able to
majority
use it,
in the
fight.
House, and they
I
only
mean, there's
have like a
different parts of
1-seat
kung
majority
fu,
sometimes
you know?
in the
I mean,
Senate.
it's not just
And
all
that
fighting,
means that
but
you have to deal with the opposing
You should be able to
party
defend
get
yourself
them to
with
vote
it.
with you. And
know?
how the sausage is made
And
sucks.
you can do-
but this is the system that we live in, and it's real
cool
easy
to
for us to
have
say
like
we
kung
want
fu,
this,
like
and
Tai
we want
Chi, where
that.
they're
and if
doing
we don't get
different
it, then we're gonna
soft
primary this
moves
guy
and
and blah blah
shit.
blah. But
But
that doesn't
that Tai Chi
mean
I still
that the
think
next
should be
guy
real,
is
too.
going to have a
I
different
think, anyhow.
circumstance if
I mean,
the
unless you're
split
just doing
in the
Tai Chi 'cause
House
you're
or
old
the
and
Senate
sick and you wanna
remains
do
the same.
exercise.
This is sort of my, you know, we
Maybe
at
in
the Art
them
Food Project
cases,
have been
you
pretty
know,
hard on a lot of senators, and we did a lot of bullying, which I'm very proud
You
of.
wouldn't worry worry about.
It's always proper to bully senators and congressmen.
I would.
Especially like to get
even
President
I
Trump's
kind
nominees
of
confirmed. But I do have a view that is, and I think especially
like Kung Fu.
you should let Susan Collins do what she
Definitely.
wants. That's the
Yeah,
why is that?
definitely.
Because Susan
Even
Collins
if
is as
you're
good as we're going to get.
sick,
We're not going to get a better.
At least
you know,
have some
the alternative to
portion of
Susan
it.
Collins is a Democrat who votes for this 0% of the time. Susan Collins voting with us half the time is gravy. It's why the Democrats were so stupid when they complained about Joe Manchin constantly. Like Joe Manchin's
Yeah,
from
I
here.
mean,
He's a West
know
Virginia.
some people practice
You're lucky you get,
self-improvement.
West
They don't
Virginia
really
gets 70%
care
for Trump.
about
You're lucky you get any votes ever. And you should be grateful
whatsoever.
every day that Joe Manchin doesn't just decide to switch parties and tell you to screw.
Well, yeah, and the
I think
difference is kind
good
of that the Republicans look
kinda
at that
have
as
that
somebody who's
mentality,
voting to
but
support
also
what his
really care about
constituents want,
self-defense,
whereas the
too.
lefties is somebody
That's
who's not
what's cool
obeying
about
their
Wing
rules.
Chun.
Yes.
Right.
It seems
And-
like
and
it's
I agree with you both
it
totally.
cares
and
about
it's,
self-defense.
I just think that it's important
You know?
for
At
or
least-
it's incumbent on us to remind
It seems like
people
that's all it's
that
about.
there are realities
You know, I mean-
that we're dealing with, and whereas we're gonna, like I said,
I mean,
we're gonna
something
sit
like
here
this.
and,
What the
and
heck is that
pontificate
for?
and
Something
say
that
we
you can
want
carry
this and we
around
wish
with you
this and we think
easily
this.
and move
That
around.
doesn't
You got,
mean that
got a
that
big
changes
night, man.
anything in Washington,
That's-
and the
that's
realities
about
on the ground are
protecting
always
yourself,
going to
man.
be the
It's not
realities on the
about,
ground. If we can get 2/3
you know,
of
just
the
doing
House
some
and then a 75
ancient
seats
culture because
in
you want
the
to do
Senate, then let's go do everything
Which that's
we
all-
want.
that's
You know,
all right,
go
too.
make all, like, repeal
You know?
everything, get rid of all the stuff we can get rid of. That sounds awesome to me, and I'm all for it. But considering we don't have that
Not
kind of
like,
majority,
you
there
know.
are limitations as to what we can do. And if we end
I
up with
listen to all
two
these
big
different
bills like
guys
they're
that
talking
they
about,
know a hell of
it's
a
better to
lot more
have the
than I
stuff
do.
that you want and a bunch of
You know?
garbage that you don't
'Cause
want
I really-
than have nothing at all. And that's your option.
really
A bunch of
concentrated on
garbage
just
to get
hitting
the other people to
people.
vote for it, or else you don't
Maybe
get a
that's
bill
bad,
that
I
you
don't
like at
know.
all. So
On the JD Vance thing,
Maybe I should concentrate on more of the
casual
other
fishing
stuff.
is correct. I mean, he could have been. He's a Marine. He's from the Appalachian. He could have loved America his whole life. It didn't mean he was America first just because he judged Trump in a certain way. So
You know?
like he could have, you know,
I
he said what he
concentrate
said
on
about Trump.
self-defense
He had his
mostly. I
spots,
do.
but maybe in the back of his mind, a lot of people he still loved his country, he still wanted to serve his country. So I give respect to that part.
absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and read some more super chats. Shane H. Wilder says,
And
one
I
thing
like
I
doing the
noticed
calisthenics
MSM
too.
not covering
Because
is the
the
70
calisthenics
Christian
are
martyrs
key to
beheaded by
building
ISIS-linked terrorists in the
skills.
Congo in the
You know?
Kasanga massacre? I did not know about this at all.
One of
Like
them,
recent?
Chisao too,
I assume
learning to
so.
stick,
How do you
learning
spell
to
that?
feel your way
Kasanga?
around.
Kasanga.
If someone has pressure here, you know,
Things that happen
maybe you put
in
pressure
Africa
on this side, they put
frequently
pressure
get
on this
ignored
side,
unless
you
it's North Africa.
put
And they
You
don't like to
it
talk
back
about
on-
any
put
form of persecution
pressure out
that
on them
Christians
on
face.
this side.
Yes.
Or
You
put
guys
pressure
talk
here.
about
Against the
Um,
Marxist left
collapse
wing
pressure,
in America.
all
Which kind
kinds
of
of
speaks to
stuff.
the conversation we were having earlier. Like,
Wow.
even in the Big Tent MAGA movement, you do have people that are, even if they aren't true believers, they're fond of Christianity,
Yeah.
religion. You know, they're not hostile to it,
Yeah, 'cause
which
you-
is obviously far
You
much
yield to,
You know,
like someone's
this is
putting a lot of
also
pressure,
next to
you
sort of the
yield
broader
to it.
Israel
I
thing.
try, I use
Israel's a lot
yielding
more
a
friendly to
lot.
Christianity than its neighbors are.
Yeah.
A lot more.
And
Yeah.
I don't always
I spoke
move
with a lot of,
forward though.
Yeah, I can
I'll
go into detail on
admit,
this, but I
sometimes,
spoke with
like
a
some
number
people
of-
say,
actually,
you
a
should
couple
always
of
move
Palestinian
forward on
Christians
being
who came to speak with
attacked,
us, and they
because
had
I often
really
give
interesting
way,
stories
because
about,
I want them to come
you know,
closer to me.
one of them was involved in like
Because I like to
sort
really,
of,
I mean, I like to damn near
Palestinian,
wrestling.
like, not
He's
terror
so
group,
close
but
to
Palestinian
wrestling.
group.
I say
And he
every I
thought
like.
like he had his friends,
You're
and then one
wrestling
day,
and hitting.
like one of these Islamists kidnapped his sister and brought him back to a different city. And he knew the people in there, and he went to the city.
You know,
He's like,
when
hey
you're
guys,
touching,
like I've been working with you all
someone's
the time. I'm with you in the
grabbing
Baptist
on
group.
you.
Like, can
Oh,
I
that's
get
cool.
my
This guy's
sister out,
grabbing
please?
on me,
Thank you.
trying to wrestle me.
And
I'm
they're
gonna
like,
hit him.
You're Christian.
Now
This
I'm gonna
isn't for
wrestle
you.
him and throw his
Like, at
ass
all.
down and hit him some
You
more.
know, like, and that gets to the point I was making about, like, there's an underlying tribalism and sectarianism in the lot Arab culture that, like, oh, you're not our religion, well, you're not us. So, you know, oh, your sister got kidnapped, that's too bad. Like,
Yeah.
sucks for you.
Yeah.
Not our problem. I mean, that's, you know, and then you compare that to like what they get in Israel, where the Christians are definitely a minority in Israel, obviously.
Move
You know,
Move out.
and really what they're fighting for is to not be treated under the Arab rubric, because there's the Jewish rubric and the Arab rubric that are sort of settled in because those are the much bigger population.
I'd move
And
these
there's fights
stupid
that the Christians
boxes.
are having to be like, no, we're different from both. Like, we want Christian education, we want our kids to be brought up Christian, and the
clean
Israeli
all-
government's
I
like,
should
yeah,
do.
okay.
I am
Sure.
getting ready to.
Yeah.
Just move that table
Tyler
over
God
here
says,
and
I
get
found
my
out in France
gardening
you
shit
have to have a
already.
suppressor by law if you own a firearm for your safety of the public. The only
My
reason
tomato
why
pepper
they are
garden.
only regulated in the U.S.
Made
is
a
control of
pepperoni,
rock-on-fill cheers. You're
garlic.
totally right. And it's not just France. There's
Made
multiple
garden.
places in
Wish I
Europe
could
where
grow some more
a
fucking
suppressor
corn,
is
man.
actually mandatory. So, yeah,
Polite.
God.
They're polite.
it is polite. It is. I mean, if you put a
Fucking
can on a
sweet
rifle,
corn's fucking
especially
good.
like a medium cartridge, like 5.56 or whatever, like it's still got a loud snap when you're shooting it, but it's totally different than shooting that same rifle without any hear.
I like having a barbecue.
and without a can, man. It's
cooking right out there, right in my
one time
garden.
when I
We're
first
going out
started
and
shooting
getting
rifles,
tomatoes and
one time
stuff
I went
right
to the
off
range
the-
and I forgot my ear pro.
Stick
and I
them
was
out,
like,
put 'em
I'm
out,
gonna go
put 'em
ahead
on my
and shoot
high-buy
it.
sheet.
One round.
Shish kebab.
No, the hell I'm not.
Piece of meat or
Yeah.
When I
chicken.
lived in Massachusetts, it was a 40-minute drive to the range and a 40-minute drive home,
Good.
and it sucked.
Good
I was not
motherfucking
shooting
shit.
anymore because man, that rings a bell.
Onions,
I don't shoot
squash.
often, but I think I got invited to go to a shooting range once. It was the first time I'd gone shooting in like 20 years. And I go there and I'm like,
Put
you
some kind of
forget if you don't do it, how
what did I
loud
put in it?
guns are. Like,
Put
just, they
on.
are, you know, and I can
Some
hear
kind
it.
of like
Like,
oil,
I hear
vinegar
my hearing,
stuff.
I
I
can't
soaked them
tolerate
in.
this.
God,
And
that's good,
if I
man.
don't stop, if I
That
don't get
chicken,
out of
that
this
beef
room,
just turns
my hearing will be
into
permanent.
tender.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I need to.
And then you got them
You know,
veggies right with them.
It's pretty rough, and I
Tomatoes.
wonder
them
how
big
soldiers
grape
put up with that. I
tomatoes.
mean, do soldiers just have ear protection, or is it just something?
Cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes.
Nowadays, most of your military, especially your
Put them right
infantry
on
guys,
the
most of them
skewer.
have some kind of ear pro.
Cooked them.
I always
Fuck out
I
of it.
didn't
That's what I'm gonna do. I'll give you another
any
hibachi.
exercise, anything we did,
Those,
always hearing protection.
Did
I
you
grill
have
shit.
the plugs or was it?
I was the orange
I'll give me another
You
one.
can't F around with the big old ears.
That way
the
it's
muffs,
small and I
the
can
sides.
bring it. You know, my grill was.
They
I
have
didn't like
you put the
moving it
muffs that are
around and
connected.
Oh,
shit.
sure. Oh,
It's
that'd
too
be nice.
big.
Yeah, pop, 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 pop. I
I'm
can
gonna
do
get a
that.
small
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I'm not a robot.
I don't need
That's
that
one
much
of the
big
things. Like, I
stuff.
mean, the military.
Just
When
cook
you
for
look at the,
myself.
even your regular rifleman infantry, like they're pretty well equipped. They're walking out with hard armor for rifles, and they're walking out with a decent amount of armor for
Buddy,
flak,
wherever
and they're
Buddy
walking out
is.
with ear pro.
Except I don't
and-
give Buddy no
and
people
most of
food.
them are getting at least a single
'Cause he's
tube
fat.
night vision, and you know
Nah, we'll hurry, buddy.
they're really well armed.
You can just go right down to the local PX, and a lot of places in town like Jackson. You can,
Nice
you can
sleeping.
if the government's not going to give it to you, you can load up yourself and take what you need.
I mean, actually, I'm curious, like, you're a musician, right? Like, and I mean, ear protection's got to be a big deal for you too. You're just playing.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
my
I mean,
aunt's
so, like,
dog.
On stage, we have
She
working
passed
monitors,
away,
so
and
I'm
I
in
ended up.
control of like
with
how
him.
loud it is, but it's
And she was
it's,
kinda
you know,
heavy
They're,
and
they're form fitting. They're
overfed him a
they're
little
expensive as hell to
He's
to
such
get
a
the
good dog.
ear.
I don't
you know,
blame
the-
him. It's
the
hard to not
multi
do
drivers. There's
grease because he's
multiple
so
little
damn
speakers
cute.
in there and stuff, and they've got a full range and stuff. I've been doing it 25
I've been
years.
trying to
and I've seen
exercise,
it, you know, on stage.
Trying to figure
I'll
out how
start
much
out
I
at a
should
certain
feed.
volume.
You know,
Depending on the
down,
size
and
of
he's
the stage or
old
where
too.
they're playing, it's like
Yeah,
you're playing a smaller
so
place and you're right on top of the drums, or you're close
I
to the
can't
drums, you
exercise
kind of need to crank
too
it up,
hard.
and it gets loud in there. But if you're playing in a big
But he's
arena, you know, you kind of
fucking
turn it
12
down.
years
but
old.
It, you know,
That's like
it's a real
84.
it's a real balancing
dog,
act because
or
you know
human.
you want to be in the moment, you
Shit.
want to be able to hear
But
the crowd.
he
so
walks
you
pretty
have
good because
mics that are
we
facing out
walk
the crowd,
about,
and you have to turn those up. But then
I don't
you
know,
got a lot of
maybe it's a
flashback and stuff. So
half mile,
it's
between
like
a
I said, it's
quarter and a
balancing
half
act,
mile
and
down,
it's tough.
down.
And I've definitely got.
Yeah, it's probably
Something
more
like
like about a
airplane right
quarter
now.
mile. I don't think it's a
That's
half
part of the reason why,
mile.
like, I'll wear these for a little while, but before the end of
Down
the show,
to
usually
these
I'll
people
end
have
up
some
taking them off
horses
because
down here, and
just
we'll walk
having
down
that
there
kind
and
of
look at the horses
over
for a
ear,
little bit.
even though I turn every
Walk back
time I
up.
sit, no matter where I sit down, whoever was there before me has it way
It's a
louder
quarter
than
mile
mine.
there and
I'll
back.
go
I get a
sit
half
down
mile
where
walk
Mary
every
does
day if I do
and
that.
to do PCC, and she's got it cranked up, and I'm
He
like,
just jumps on
And
it.
that's pretty good.
Volume is just,
Yeah.
You know,
maybe
in the
get
summertime,
pretty
I
weird,
can
but yeah,
probably
it's,
walk
it's a
a
real
mile.
thing.
In the
And I
winter,
shoot a
it's
lot
hard
too,
for
and-
me.
and I don't
like
skimp
his,
on ear pro. I wear expensive.
You have
I
to.
broke all
It's
these
important
bones
because
in my face,
You never gain your hearing back.
and it's
Once your
just,
hearing's gone, it's
I
gone.
can't even stand being outside.
Let's see here. Awoken State, Florida says, first time
Winter
super
is
chat.
just
Love
fucking
you all and
misery.
everything you do. Wanted to shout out my man's new
Once
channel,
it's
Department of
40 degrees,
Deportation.
man. 50
Also a
degrees
website
out.
with t-shirts for
40,
sale.
50
I was
degrees.
hoping
I'll
you
be
can
out
help get him
outside,
some
man.
extra visibility, more viewers. Thanks.
I'll be outside. We'll
Congratulations
start
on your
cleaning up my
new
damn
endeavor,
gardens and shit.
Department of Deportation.
Great name.
You know, it'd be so popular for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with
All
him.
right. Mystery Beard said my vinyl of Anti-Fragile arrived
You know, 'cause he-
Sunday.
he don't like
Sick,
being
man.
alone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
It's
it.
kind of muddy and
If you're looking
shitty
to
out there.
get
I
a
don't wanna
copy of
fucking leave him
All
out
That
there
Remains
muddy.
new record, you can go to All That Remains online, or you can get it off of Amazon. I think they've got the
I'll think of something.
I think they have the CDs. If not, go to
Nice dry place, and I'll
allthatremains.online.com. We got
I
it.
guess I'll just tie him
Let's
up
see.
there. If he
Fulton
stays
Green says,
right
if you
with
not
me,
know who
I'll
Raising
let him
Cane is, you
off
have
the
to hear the
leash,
story.
but-
He's the general who told Trump ISIS could be defeated in weeks, not years. It's legit Trump's funniest story from 45. I will check that out. That's worth looking into.
He's a city dog.
Yeah.
So he really does stay right with me, and
Phil
he's used to walking out. Even if I take the leash off, he just stays right there. You know, he doesn't really go anywhere.
I'm not going to talk about what TTI is because YouTube has rules.
The moment I'm not paying attention or something,
know.
he'll probably go out on the fucking road
Yeah.
and get run
I'm
over.
not sure why that's
Try to
a bold move.
keep him tied up
Let's see. Dark
keep
Angel
him
Dawn.
on his leash.
Poops. There you go. First super chat, longtime fan wanted to highlight the fact that General Jim Slight also got fired today. He was a toxic POS over at FSOC and pushed DEI shit hard. Also openly hating enlisted people, MAGA. You know, it's bad news when your Brad hates the enlisted.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brass to begin with, but if you give hate back, you can go F the F off.
I mean,
Hate has to only flow up. Hate cannot flow
right.
down.
I mean,
Yeah.
why do you even want to do that with your lives? You like hate the people you're, the soldiers serving? That's
And it's a huge deal. It's like their lives you're dealing with and everything, man. You can't be effing around with that.
All right, so smash that like button. Share the show
Smash
with
that
friends.
like
Go on over to
button.
timcast.com.
Maybe I should start saying
Join
all
the
that shit.
Discord.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, so Will,
Like and
you got anything you wanna
subscribe.
Yes.
You damn son of a bitch, help me make some damn money so I don't have to be on
We
welfare.
are, you know,
Sick and
we don't really talk a
whatever.
huge amount about this, maybe a
I'm not on
little.
welfare.
We're all about getting
just
people confirmed. Now, a lot of President Trump's main nominees have gotten confirmed, but now we're on the
Oh,
subordinates,
I made
and there's a
myself
lot of
dizzy.
very important people.
Even the labor secretary?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we believe Trump should get all of the nominees.
Okay.
So, including the ones we don't necessarily agree with on policy.
Oh, the sun's coming out.
So we think you should support them, but there's a lot of people like Harmeet Dillon, who's going to be
Yeah, I
running the
love
civil
that
rights
red
section
color.
of DOJ. People like Keith Slater is going to be running antitrust and going after big tech. There are a lot of like secondary
Big old
nominees
red
that some of these senators
sunball
might
sky.
be getting ideas about. Oh, we can maybe stop them. Go to a3paction.org. We
Crazy
make it
world,
unbelievably easy for you to contact your senator. Like you click a couple of buttons and you
It's
send an
still
email
hard
to
to
your
fucking
senator,
believe
and
there's a big
trust me,
fucking
that's
giant
what they pay
ball of
attention to. They don't
gas
pay attention to the broader hubbub necessarily.
with a
But if
fucking
you are a
huge
constituent
fucking
and
iron
you email your
core.
senator and they hear about it, they're going to take
And it's
that
so
seriously.
huge
It's
and has
streamlined.
so much
Streamline,
gravity
you know, within a
that
minute
it
you'll have an email
squishes
out the
shit
door.
together
You don't know.
until-
So a3paction.org.
Nuclear.
Guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twitch
What you call
at
it?
Brett
Re-
Gasovic on both
reaction
of those
happens.
platforms. But what you should do is join us Monday through Friday at
Fission,
3 p.m.
yeah,
Eastern on
nuclear
YouTube.
fission.
Pop
That's
Culture
it.
Crisis. It's a lot less
Yeah, 'cause
serious
we do
than all of the
fusion, I
various
think.
serious stuff that we talk
Oh,
here.
no, maybe
have
we
a lot
do
of fun. You should come
fusion.
join
Or
us
it
on
does
Monday.
fusion. And we do-
Friends, if
I
you want
don't
to follow
fucking
me,
know.
come to
Dude,
X
I
at
think it's
Raymond
vision,
Shanley
'cause
on
it's
X
squishing
and
it
Shanley
together.
Jr. on the internet.
We
I
blow
have
up
some
hard.
based takes that are semi-good sometimes.
Like our
So I had a great time. It was a great Friday.
Not that I really
Always
understand
a
any
great
of that
conversation,
shit.
sir.
Absolutely.
Also, congratulations to Tim Allison. They,
But I
they
like
had
watching
the thing.
programs
So
about it.
that
Yes, congratulations.
I'm not,
That
so,
shit blows my
you know,
fucking
shout out.
mind, man. Hard to fucking believe
I
it.
am Phil That Remains on X. You can subscribe to me there. I'm Phil That
Yeah,
Remains official on
that's what
Instagram.
everything
Dan is All That
is.
Remains. The new record dropped on January 31st. It is called Anti-Fragile.
Probably
Head on
easier to
over
think
to
that's
Apple
fucking
Music,
raw.
YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, and
There's
Deezer.
raw
Check it
coming
out.
up.
Please do. And also, don't forget the Left Lane is for Crime. It is a
You know,
Friday, so
and
keep
to
an
think
eye out here
That, you know,
for
you
updates
got to
throughout
really
the
think
weekend.
hard
We
and
will see
think,
you all
oh man,
back
how the
here
hell
on
does
Monday.
that work? And it's fucking iron, big ball. It's really like a big ball of iron at its core, big molten ball of unreal. And that swirling mass of shit of melting metal makes the like a dynamo, just like a electric motor, creates a magnetic field around it. Same thing as the Earth, big ball of molten metal. That's crazy, man. Physics is so fucking cool. You don't even need fucking any religion, really. I don't think. I mean, everyone, I think, needs to have some kind of thing about, maybe they have like something inside them that's divine and good and it's worthwhile. But I think if you study physics and stuff like that, it's miraculous. that
Thank you very
any
much
of this
for
stuff
being
even
here. We
exists.
have,
I think that's
largely
more
an
interesting
energy
than
group
any
today. We're
religions
looking
or
to be very energy dominant, and we will be very
that
sure.
stuff.
These are great professionals, but before we do that, we'll be signing
learning
an
some
executive order
dogmatic
having to do with
bullshit.
COVID and schools.
And that's supposed to explain
First
everything.
executive
you know,
order
It doesn't,
that
man.
prohibits federal funding
There-
for COVID-19 mandates,
Something
vaccine
that-
mandates in schools.
How do you fucking, would
And
you
it will
explain
bring,
everything? Because
don't wanna
once you
clear
learn
that up.
one thing, there's
Yeah.
just gonna be
Discrepancy.
something
So
more to
any
learn.
schools that require
You know, it just makes you
students to
question
be
more things.
vaccinated,
And the more you learn
COVID-19
about stuff,
shot, then
the more you
there's
realize,
no
man, I don't really
federal
fucking know shit.
Okay.
Like I've done Wing Chun forever. I know a lot about it. I practiced it. I don't really care about the Chinese terms and that all that crap too much. I know a few. I've never really cared about that shit. I'm not kung
Okay.
fu-y
That solves that problem.
techno guy. That,
So will the Department
You
of
know,
Education have to?
said come out and sound like
Yes, it'll go through the
I'm
Department
quite
of
Shane Kane, the Taoist philosopher.
Thanks.
Although I do practice that.
Can I make one comment, Mr. President?
Yes, please.
As a father of 9, thank you. We should have parental freedom to decide what vaccines our
There's
kids
nothing
take,
wrong with
as
that.
opposed to school
There's just a
systems.
lot of
that
guys
govern
that like
enforcement
that.
upon,
It's
the
kind of
people that
funny
love these kids
sometimes.
most, which is the parents. So thank you for saying that.
Great, thank
Some
you.
of
Very
them
many
do
people
martial
wanted
arts,
that very
so.
bad. Okay.
Okay, and here's an
Yeah, I ain't gonna be no
executive
kung fu
order
Kendra.
the National Energy Dominance Council.
I watch
So
her
that will be
sometimes. She
chaired
is good.
by, the Secretary
she's
of
pretty
Interior, Mr. Burgum, and the Vice Chair, Chris Wright. And so this will reduce costs with respect
like
to
she's-
energy, establish.
She's really
American
created like a
independence
persona
with energy and also
surrounding their
unleash
whole
energy
online
dominance.
thing, and
Good,
it's
thank
just
you.
kind
And
of
this is a big
fucking
deal.
weird.
We have more energy than any
Whatever.
other country, and now we're unleashing.
Pretty good at kung fu
Nicely.
though. Probably a really good
And I'd
teacher.
like to ask Doug, you're gonna be heading it
Yeah,
up.
she's pretty.
You and Chris, would you say a few words about it, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Good afternoon. President Trump wisely understood that under the Biden administration, there was a war against American energy, and today that war officially has ended. President Trump on day one declared a national energy emergency, and this is a real emergency because under the Biden administration restricted the production of oil and gas. Production is still coming, but when you stop holding leases, when you take 625 million acres of land out of
Hey, I'm starting
ocean
to warm up.
land out of
Get a
production
couple bursts
possibilities
in.
and executive order, and really restricting the balance sheet of America. But today,
Squeeze my butt.
as President Trump said, this is unleashed. The National Energy Dominance Council will be made up, all the folks that are standing beside me here, other cabinet leaders and many more, represent President Trump's wise decision that we need a whole of government approach to unwind.
Can't even
The
see
Biden
that.
administration had a whole of government approach that we had the war against U.S. energy. Now we need to turn that around 180 degrees and unleash that potential. We've got to unleash it from
Pressure
the
here,
Gulf of
pressure
America
here,
all the way up to Alaska.
pressure
We have
here,
amazing
pressure
resources
here.
in this country, and we haven't been getting a return on
And I
it. Many
switched
of
the
these are
pressure
under
there.
public lands.
Bang.
The interior has 500 million acres of surface, 700 million acres of subsurface minerals, critical minerals.
Always
and
pressure,
offshore,
always pressure, always
a
touch.
billion acres.
You know,
And that balance sheet makes it
Touch here.
is the biggest
One
balance
hand
sheet
light,
in the world.
touch here.
It's been
You know?
completely
One
underutilized.
hand hard,
Everybody
bang.
knows we have
Yeah, you don't
26
really-
trillion in debt as a country, but no one knows
you know when you're
how
doing
many
chiso, you
hundreds
don't
of
really
trillions
hit
of dollars of assets we have.
Yeah,
President
harder
Trump is
technique
asking
to
us
shove.
to go get a
Shove
return on that investment for the American people. And with that, we're gonna have prosperity at home with lower prices, and we're also gonna have peace abroad. Because the wars that we've been engaged in, or our allies have been fighting over the past few years, have been funded by the oil sales of our
I like
adversaries.
that too, see?
So we have an opportunity, and we
But
also
you
are in
can
an
pull
AI
someone on
arms race
top
with
of you
China.
doing
The
that,
only way
though.
we win that is with more electricity, and
And
we
that is
also
where
have
you
an
jet
energy
that butt
emergency
in
in
like
terms
that.
of electricity.
People like that.
Too
people
much
like that.
intermittent, unreliable, not enough base load, and we're
Move
shutting
your
down the
foot.
base load that we have.
Move
President
off
Trump
the
is
side,
gonna
you get
reverse
it hung
that,
forward
and it's
a
gonna
little
allow us
bit.
to win the AI arms race, which is the most important thing that we
You know,
have to do
touch here,
relative
touch here,
to
like you
our
touch both
future.
spots.
So with that, I want to say again, thank you, President Trump, and I want to thank my fellow members of the Energy Council here. I'm going to kick it over to the Vice Chair, Chris Wright, who's the Secretary of the Department of Energy.
Thank you, Secretary Burgum. Today is truly a great day for our country today. And Secretary
Yeah,
Burgum
I
laid out
practice
so many of the problems
non-traditional
of the last
Wing
4
Chun,
years.
but I'm
You
not
put
like
barriers
Jack
in front of
Dope guy or
energy, you make it
anything.
more expensive. you make
I
it
just
less
practiced a lot of
reliable,
different
make it harder to do business
Chinese
here,
martial
and
arts
harder for
over
our
the years,
consumers to
and Wing
pay
Chun
their
just happens
bills.
to be one of them. And
With this fantastic
now that I'm
action
old,
from our president,
I
we
like.
now have
I
authority
think I like
across
Wing
the
Chun the
government
best.
to lean in
I used to like
fix
Monkey
these
Kung Fu
problems.
the best.
And I'll start out with one
You know,
specific
and I still
right
think
away.
Monkey Kung
This
Fu
morning
is
I
the best.
signed our first LNG
Because
export license,
Monkey Kung Fu is
unpausing the
fucking cool.
pause in action. The
But
Commonwealth
it's hard to do when
LNG
you get
project
old. It's hard to
up
be
the Gulf
monkey.
Coast of Louisiana is now
And
officially
flipping
ready to
around
go.
and-
This will be
Hell,
a
I can hardly
large construction
use-
project for
do a
American
split
workers.
anymore.
It'll draw demand for more American
And the
energy
flexibility
production
that
that'll
it
be shipped
requires to do
overseas
Monkey
to our
Kung Fu
allies.
is fucking
Many
unreal.
more of those to
Balance,
come. We're
strength.
also working aggressively to roll
Yeah,
back
that's
standards
probably my favorite
that have made
Kung Fu.
appliances more expensive for Americans.
But you know,
and
I have to be
dishwashers that
realistic,
take
and
2
I do
hours
that.
long and don't
No,
get your
I can't
dishes
do it.
clean.
You know, I'm fucking
Nobody likes that.
fat old
That's about
construction
standing
worker
in the
that's
way. And with
broken
this
every
president,
day, broken
President
his
Trump
head,
and our new
broken
National Energy
everything.
Dominance
Nah,
Council,
I ain't
there's
gonna be
so
doing
many
Monkey
things
Kung
we
Fu.
can do to make
Maybe a
American
little.
lives better,
Some
bring down
elements
costs
of
and
it.
grow opportunities. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to a fellow member
But
of the council,
I think
our
the
expert of the EPA, Lee Zeldin.
Wing
Thank you,
Chun
Secretary.
concepts. I
And
think I'm
honored to
better
be
off to
serving
delve
on
into
the
that.
Energy
That
Dominance Council
keep
at
doing my
EPA.
Tai
We're
Chi
doing our part
Chuan
to power the great American comeback.
my different
And
Shaolin
President Trump has made it
Qigong
clear that he
learning.
wants
I
EPA
like
to be
Shaolin.
doing our job to
'Cause
ensure that we are unleashing energy
Our- you
dominance
know,
however we can help.
the original
That
Kung
we are
Fu
assisting in
teacher
making America the AI capital of the world. That we are pursuing.
that I
improving
consider
reform, that we are
myself like part of the
helping to bring
lineage
back
because my
American auto
teachers all
jobs.
learned from
This
this
is
guy
the
named
mandate
Dean
of the
on,
American
all my
public.
different Kung Fu
The Trump
teachers,
mandate, it was
and this
clear,
guy was
and the
known
guidance from
in this
President Trump
area.
to me when he
You know,
asked
he
me,
taught some pretty
thankfully,
cool
for
stuff.
the opportunity for
And
us to be able
I
to
think
serve
myself
together in
connected to
partnership
that
to
kind of
unleash energy dominance.
you know, people
This
ask
is the
what
moment that we
is.
must meet.
I've also
To that end,
studied
It is important to note that the prior
a lot of
bipartisan
different stuff and
EPA
just kind of, you know,
issued a waiver to
kinda,
California for
hey, I don't know what I
emissions.
like. Why
This
not
was a
learn
rule
as much
that
as
should
I
have been submitted
am
to
able
Congress.
to?
We will submit
know,
it to Congress.
And now
Congress
that
will
I'm
have the
old,
opportunity through the
you
Congressional
know, I
Review
pretty
Act
much,
to make that
yeah,
waiver
I
go
think
away.
Wing Chun is going to
We
be my
will do
place
everything in
to
our part to help the
dwell
American
till
people
I finally
to make life
leave
in
this
America
earth.
more affordable.
That's going to be
The
my
golden
art.
age of American success is upon
Because
us.
I
If
can
you're
keep doing
excited
it
about the
till,
last
you
3
know,
weeks,
I watched,
that was just a taste of the
what is it,
main
Ip Chun,
event, the
Ip Man's
entree to
son?
come
I see,
the
he's
next
like
4
90
years
years
being the
old, he's
greatest
out there.
term in the history of the American presidency.
I mean,
With
no
that, I'd like to
disrespect to him, but I mean, he's an
introduce
old guy, and it's like,
So,
man,
listen,
I want to be
thank you
him.
for the-
If I live that long,
work
I want to be
on,
like him.
Dishwashers, we use more water to
Still
wash
being able to do Kung Fu.
the dishwasher. That's right. We're not
And
saving water, we're using more water. So
Wing
thank
Chun,
you for that.
you know, you can keep doing
but
it
I'm
right
also
until
going
you,
to
you know, as
be,
long as you can move around and
we've
stuff a little
introduced,
bit, you
our
still
rules
do
and
it.
structure and look at the cafe standards. So we're looking
And I
at
think,
how
the
much it costs
exercises
end users,
build
when
your
they put
core
gas in
and
their
your
car.
back
And,
so
dividing
well
their,
that I think that's definitely
standards are costing billions
good
of dollars,
for you as
in
you're getting
taxes
into
and
older
carbon
age.
credits, which
You
drive up the
know,
cost of
because the
vehicles.
exercises are
We're
easy,
going
they don't
to,
really kill you. I mean,
remedy
I
this
had
right
myocarditis and
make
had
sure
to have
we
a
have the cost
deep
of carnival. Number two, if I could just mention,
God, I
Mr.
can't,
President,
thing
per
put
your
in.
direction, we are going to move forward with a
the fuck is
permitting
that damn
process
thing
for the
called?
Texas Gulf
I
Link
don't fucking
deep water
know.
port.
The thing that
Making
shocks
sure we
me,
can,
my heart
move
quits.
energy in and out of the
Stupid
country.
ass.
So
What the
that's-
fuck? I
that
can't
was
even
held up for
remember the
5 years.
stupid fucking thing.
And it was stonewalled.
I'm
here,
no
that's not the
fucking
way.
genius,
We're now
man.
moving forward with that.
I don't really
Sure,
care
we can
about
create
that
home
kind of shit that much.
And how
Other than I know that it's supposed to help me.
So,
But it's
The nanny state.
fuck is that motherfucking
Feeling
thing called?
the
It's not a
end of the nanny
pacemaker,
state. From
but it's like that.
straws
It's
made of
it's
paper
you know
to
the same thing like the
regulation,
paddles that they
endlessly
shock you with,
harming
except it's
Americans and
inside
holding
me.
us back. It
You
slows
know,
down our
because my
production,
myocarditis made my heart muscle weak
India
and fucked up my
yesterday,
valve
you're
and
hearing that
shit.
about energy dominance. It's
I
going
can't
to
really
go
have
away.
a
We're
lot
going
of
to care
stress,
about
but
Americans.
I do stress myself a
Trump
little bit,
administration and
you know,
this
practicing
president
Kung Fu,
cares about
trying to move, take the dog for a walk every
feel a
day.
change. You're gonna feel
I got
the
like
price
little
energy
weights
coming
that I
down. You're gonna feel
lift.
prices coming down. You're gonna feel an explosion. The golden age of manufacturing of America has always been there. It's just
You know,
been
to try to keep my
stifled by
strength up.
regulation,
Woo!
And that time is over.
You know.
Mr. President,
All right, I exercise like a lady. So what? I'm old.
And Secretary and Chairman
It
Bergen,
happens. You get
he's
old
been
and
working
weak.
on this his whole life. And so what I expect you to see, sir, is action
But
as early as next week.
Who cares
It's
as
gonna
long as
shock
you're
people about how good
exercising?
it is for
That's all that
Americans.
matters.
So
It
thank
don't
you
matter
for
if you
your-
exercise,
Thank
if
you
you're
very
not that
much, Kevin.
strong. It
We
matters.
are
It just
also
matters you
working
do
on
it.
a project that
You
has
know?
been,
It
under
doesn't
wraps
matter if
for
you're that good at
20
it.
years.
You know,
Everybody
there's
wanted
really
it.
no good or
It's been
bad.
held up by New
It's
York.
more important just to
It's a
do.
pipeline that will
You know,
bring
if
down
you like
the
kung fu, if
energy
you like
prices
karate, or
in New
whatever,
York and in
aikido, whatever, man.
all of New England
Fucking
by
do it.
50, 60,
You
70%.
know, go do it.
It should have been done years
That's the
ago.
best damn thing for
And
you.
we'll be speaking to New York and the
It
New
don't
York's
matter if you're
actually
any
the
good,
best
don't matter how
beneficiary
good
because
you are, how
energy
bad,
costs are very
whatever.
high. This will reduce the
Just
burden
go and fucking do
substantially.
it. You'll get better.
All of the governors want this to happen, and I think it's gonna happen. It's now going to happen. It's something that's, would rather not have to go eminent domain. We'll do that if we
I
have
practiced
to. in New York,
yesterday.
but
I practiced a
hopefully
lot
we
of
won't
like
have to
Tai
do
Chi
that.
type stuff.
This again will
You know?
bring down energy prices
I
in
just
New
practiced
England.
because you know, some days I don't feel good as
Nobody can
good
even
as
believe,
others.
probably 50, 60%,
So I just do
maybe even
that.
more than
You know what I did do? I finally got
Pay
I
energy
did some
because they have
kicks
no
too
energy. They use lava, they go
yesterday.
out and they cut down a tree.
Yeah, that was
And
good.
it's really a terrible situation. So we're gonna
I
get this
got
done.
nice
we
and
can have it
loosened
done.
up, did a few
Once we start
kicks.
construction, we're looking at
That was
anywhere
great.
from 9 to 12 months, if you can believe it. It's gonna go very
I'm a little
rapidly.
sore.
And the other thing I'd like Doug
Not
to
bad.
mention, the 635 million acres that Biden so viciously took out of our
What's the boss
net
doing
worth. If you
now?
Look at it from the standpoint of
Fixing all that
a company. You
shit
talk
that
about net
fucking
worth. They've destroyed our net worth. We're putting it back. It will be back.
Joe
as
Biden. How the
this
hell did that
afternoon.
guy become
And
president?
Doug,
Joe
did you
Biden,
mention
man.
that? All
Not
of the
Trump.
millions and
I
millions
understand
of
how
acres
Trump
he just handed
become president.
back.
Yes,
Nobody.
the executive
times.
order,
I understand it
President Biden
completely.
wiped out these trillions from our balance sheet. President Trump signed an executive order instructing me as the Secretary of Interior to unban that
People are
ban,
fucking
and that's
smart or
what
fucking
accomplished.
sick of
So
the
those are
machine.
back on the U.S.
They're
balance
sick
sheet.
of the entire, you know,
The 625
our
million
culture
acres
and
of offshore
society is
that was,
fucked up because
banned
of
from further lease
government bureaucracies
anything.
and
625 million
the
acres,
media
one-third
lying
the
to us
size of
about
the lower
shit all the
48,
time.
that was taken off our balance sheet. It's back on.
You know,
And
you
now
can't get a
President
straight
Trump cares
answer
about
out of
the
any of them
people.
fucking
He knows that these
bureaucrats.
public lands belong to the public.
And
They don't belong to Washington.
and the
They're
media
not
just
from
fucking
the prior
lies for
administration. And we're gonna make sure that we
Twist
get a
fucking
return on
stories.
investment for the American
They're nothing but
The amount of
you know,
money
you know what a
that we took off our
sophist
balance
is.
sheet, if you look
Someone
at
that, you know,
the
someone
balance
that's
sheet,
really
it's
well trained in philosophy and
incalculable. Nobody's ever seen
psychology,
anything like it.
and
he
they
did that, I
fucking
guess, in the
manipulate and
last few days
lie.
with the
Well, that's what our
administration.
media
He
is.
just wiped it out.
They
635
well-educated,
million
really
acres,
smart people
which if you
that
sit
understand
down and look,
psychology
it's like,
and they understand how to
major part of the
manipulate
ocean.
shit.
and he
And
just
that's what they
gave
do
it
to
away
us.
and took it away,
You
and
know?
unfortunately, it wasn't done with an act of Congress or anything, and we did it.
And I'm glad to see people are
I think
really, really
abbreviated, very quick, and very
waking up to see it
procedure.
because
And it's now back on our balance sheet.
we've
It's back
almost
as part
had
of our country.
a
What they
fucking
did was
Soviet
horrible.
like
It was
fucking
just a terrible
government.
thing to do.
Not as bad as the
Unbelievable thing
Soviets.
to do.
I mean,
Also, they
America's
mentioned
a million
dishwashers
times
and
better than
sinks
that
and
government.
showers and the whole thing.
But
We're
you kind of have
getting rid
something
those
similar
restrictions,
that
you know,
fucking
many
lies
places
to
where
us,
they
that
have water, they have so
manipulates
much water,
us,
they don't know what to do
you
with
know,
it.
tricks us into
But
thinking
people
these
buy a
wars
house
are
and
good
throw
and
the
they're
sink and
not.
water barely comes
And-
out. They
and we're
take a
fucking
shower,
ruining
water
our
barely comes
fucking
out.
future of our
And
country
it's
for
an
these
unnecessary
assholes.
restriction, and basically I think
And
we're
it's
gonna be
almost-
going back to
almost
the
like
Trump
they're
rule. We
fucking
had it, and everybody
Trying to
was happy.
destroy
And then
America.
these people came in and they restricted it again, so we're going
I think
back.
we need to
and
go
we're gonna
back to
approve by
being
Congress. In addition,
stay out of
we're gonna
war,
approve
don't
by
be the
Congress.
fucking
So for
world's
4 years it's
policeman,
been,
don't try
we're
to
gonna get
stop
it,
fucking
permanently,
communism.
taken care of. And again,
Encourage
very
everybody to go to
environmental-
Mars.
Environmentally friendly, but
Let's go to
you
Mars.
wanna
Let's,
be
let's
able
build a
to,
city
when
on
somebody
Mars.
turns
Let's build a
on
little.
sink to
Let's
wash
put
their
3
hands
dudes
or
on Mars.
presses the button for
You
the
know?
dishwasher,
Let's
and
do
there's
it. And
barely
in
enough
100 years,
water
we'll have
to
a
it. I
city
mean,
there.
There's no water, and you know what they do? They press
You
the
know, or
button
maybe
10
maybe
times.
less.
They run it 10 times. So then
Why
it
not
costs
do,
a
if
lot
the
more.
whole
So,
fucking world
I know you're
got
working
on
on
board
that,
with
and
like what
we're all
Elon
doing.
Musk is doing?
We're working closely
And
with the
stuff that
Department of
we're
Energy
doing-
with
they're
regards to
doing.
rules that were enacted
Yeah,
during the
I
Biden
think-
administration inside of the EPA. We are overhauling
I think
the
we can
water
get past
sense,
post-scarcity,
standards that are there, to
no one
update
will
them
go
for the
without
American
ever
people, to bring down
being,
cost of
no one
living,
would
combat
ever go
inflation,
without fucking clean
and just
water.
pursue common sense.
and no one would
We
go
have more
without,
oil and gas than anybody
you know, at
else
least
in
some
the
kind of
world. We're
basic
opening
health
up
care for
Anwar
them. You know, if
again,
they fall
and
down,
we
get their
got
arm,
something
break their
already
arm or what, get in a
no
car
president
wreck,
was
okay,
able
you're
to
cool,
do
dude,
like
don't
that.
worry about it.
And the first
We're gonna
week
get you
in
healthy,
office,
and you're not gonna fucking
Biden
be in debt
administration
for a
terminated
fucking
that. Anwar's the biggest
$100,000.
site, probably bigger
you
than
know?
Saudi Arabia.
We're gonna get you healthy so
We
you can
don't
get
know
back
yet.
out and
It's
live.
of that size or bigger. And we hit gold, and I call it liquid gold.
You
but
know,
we
and
hit
I think you
gold,
can do that,
they
do stuff
for
like
whatever
that
reason, they
without becoming an
terminated it.
authoritarian
And we're just
socialist
ready to
country.
start utilizing
You know?
it. This could take
I think
care of
America
all
can
of
find a way to
Asia,
do stuff like
energy-wise.
that because America
Very
is
close
the
to
best.
Japan. In fact, Japan wants to go
Best
and
thing
be
that
our
humanity
partner.
has ever
Through the
created,
pipeline
really,
going right
as far as
into the
government.
ships.
I
So,
think.
They expressed tremendous interest, so did
It
Prime
has
Minister Modi
such
of
great
India.
potential to
And
lead humanity
in
into the
closing,
future.
both Prime Minister Modi and
It
the
sucks
Prime
to see
Minister
that
of
the
Japan,
country is
both
potentially
very,
dying.
Good people. They said
It's
we couldn't
because
make a
of
deal.
people
We
that
couldn't
wanted
get any
empire.
energy. I mean, you wonder what was going on. I told you is
Yeah, shit, I'm gonna end this
Four-
video. So I already
four
got an
plus
hour on it, and I got some stuff I gotta do. So,
yeah.
thanks for anybody that watches
BRICS
it.
nations.
Please like and
I think
subscribe,
it's
all that
breaking up very
crap.
rapidly. We said
All right,
that they
see
could
ya.
do anything to undermine